looks like a sun-kissed.
But it's not.
Ugh.
There's a mango michelada. I've had it before. It's actually quite tasty.
Not much of a michelada type. So,
Well, before you start judging me and mine, okay, let me just introduce us. Okay, welcome to the Cruxman. That is Salt. I am Papa. And for the next hour, we're going to try to entertain you to the best of our abilities. So,
you know what? We're back, baby.
Woo!
We missed a week. Kind of almost. We're just a couple days behind.
We are a couple days behind. It's been busy.
It's coming out. It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
We're back in the building. I am home. It's been a month. And it's good to be back at the crib. I tell you like this. All I did yesterday was sit on my ass. And I watched Netflix to my heart's content. Oh, so good.
Yeah?
So good.
What are you jamming to right now?
Well, I just completed Drive to Survive, season 5. Outstanding. Love that show. Outstanding show. Yesterday, though, I watched that Luther movie. It's called The Fallen Son. I was a fan of that show when it was out. And so, like, the last episode came out, like, of the seasons. It was, like, maybe 2013, something like that. And it's only 13 episodes, but, like, they were coming out at the time, then it stopped. It's out of nowhere. I was like, oh, that sucks. And I kept hearing about a movie. There was rumors about a movie. That was a decade ago. Finally, it drops. Like a week ago or so, I was like, well, when I get home, that'll be exactly what I do. As soon as I touch down. And it was good. It was awesome. I love the whole series. I think there's going to be more to it, I hope. I hope they pick it up and keep running with it, but it's good stuff, man. Luther. Idris Elba. Check it out. I think the episodes now, the seasons are on Hulu now, but that movie though on Netflix.
All right. I like it. I've been rewatching Sons of Anarchy.
Shit, that'll be a good one to go back to.
Has me feeling some kind of way.
Hence the Scully.
Oh, yeah. Man, I just, my wife was like, why are you wearing hoodies again or beanies again all of a sudden? I was like, one, it's cold outside. Two, I like wearing them because, I think they make me look cooler. She's like, it's Sons of Anarchy, huh? I was like, don't act like you know me. First of all, she's like, why do you have like 17 new rings? I was like, I don't. I only got 16 new rings. So math, okay? Get out of here. You know what? Hold on. Before we even started this whole thing, I was trying to tell you I was upset. And I was not wanting to be upset. I don't like coming into these environments upset. But she called me. She called me 10 minutes prior to recording. She knew I was going to be recording, and she just had to poke. And I was like, babe, stop. You were asking me for more information. I don't have more information. I got nothing to give you right now. Let me figure out the plan. And once I have something more concrete, I will tell you the details. Okay. Now, this is a big difference between men and women. Okay. If you call me as my homie and you're like, hey, man, what's the plan? And I'm like, I don't know. You're like, that's it. He doesn't know. There's no more to it. Right. It's not like
much.
I mean, it was Jeff Foxworthy had a great skit about this, He comes home, husband comes home, phone rings, he answers the phone. Cling! Hello, this is Jeff. Hey, man, just want to let you know, got in a car accident, and I'm going to be late. It was his friend, whatever. Let's call him his friend Steve, okay? He hangs up the phone. Okay. He's like, his wife's like, oh, who was that? He goes, oh, it's Steve. She's like, oh, what's Steve want? He's going to be late. Why is he going to be late? He got in a car accident. Oh, my God. Is he okay? I don't know. Well, was it his fault? I don't know. Is he going to the hospital? I don't know. Does he have insurance? I don't know. Like, all these questions, And I heard another comedian earlier today talk about the same thing. Like, he went golfing with this guy he hasn't seen since he got a divorce, and he comes home. How was golf? Golf was great. So how's Henry doing? I don't know. How do you not know? Is he dating someone? I don't know. How do you not know these things? You spent 4 hours together on the golf course. How do you not know this? It never came up. He goes, you know what I do know? He got a new driver. It's like, All right.
That's how we talk, man.
A difference
It's
in
exactly
men
that.
and women, like, and I just get so frustrated because you know me, like, I want to have an answer. I want to
Yeah.
give you what it is you crave, but not to the point that it stresses me out, because now I feel like I have to set aside what I'm trying to do to suffice your inquisitive nature, which is not what I want to do, right? Here's a good segue, okay? So, the language barrier here between men and women, there certainly is one, okay? So now I'm going to go full-blown vato, okay? I'm right here, like vato. I can't. People, you gotta watch. I don't know why this occurred to me earlier, right? So this Mexican guy goes to the doctor. Hey, doctor. Hey, my stomach is hurting, man. I'm trying so hard. The doctor checks him out. He's like, hey, we're going to give you a laxative. And he's like, he goes, what you mean a laxative? You try to give me a chill out pill. You fucking take a relaxative. That's it. I got to work on the delivery. like a chill pill, right?
Yeah, but
then and it's supposed to be a laxative, but he calls it a relaxative.
A relaxative. Yeah. I thought there was more.
Don't you tell me to take no chill pill, okay? You take a fucking relaxative. I got to work on the delivery. The build up was good, but the punchline was you take a fucking laxative. I'll work on it better.
Deal.
But it only works with this hat right here.
Yeah, I mean that's as close as it's gonna get.
I'm straight out of Jalisco, Holmes. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do the rest of this episode just like this. As long as I don't smile, you can't tell.
We'll see how long it goes.
And I keep my chin up like this, Holmes.
Shit. As long as you're talking into some direction,
so you can see my neck. Why do we do this? Why is this the thing? I never seen it. Is that it's so they can see you from underneath the hoodie? That's what it is. Because if you do this, I can't. I just solved a problem.
You catch them.
I just solved the problem.
Just catching them. Yeah.
I'd apologize if that offended anybody, but I really don't give a fuck. He's a joke, man. You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. So
I don't even know where I was going with that.
This week, I don't know. Let's see.
So how's your month? How's your month been?
It was actually great. I'm not gonna lie. I met some awesome folks and we clicked immediately. I'm pretty sure I hinted at this the last time we chatted, but yeah, we clicked immediately, and then it was just basically this nonstop, just a lot of just drinking. Good conversation though, lots of heavy conversation about all the things, which is something I do enjoy. And then, we parted ways. Everyone's in their respective homes. It was like bittersweet though. It was like I'm ready to go home, but it's like, damn, I gotta like leave good folks, But it kind of leaves it open for the next time we all, I catch them. Wherever out in the world.
Was there anybody there? Because you were in a course. Anybody you already knew?
Man, I bumped in all kinds of folks. I didn't know anybody in there, but I bumped into people from way back in my past.
Okay,
which is crazy. And I was like, holy shit! And there's people that was like, I don't know why I know you, but I know you somehow, some way. Happens all the time, man. Shit, I'll be at even on the airport, the ride out there, I bumped into somebody, and I was like, yo, like. What the fuck? Like, it's been a minute, man. How you been? What's going down? Like, we just happened to be on the same connected flight. It's crazy. He was on his way to Tampa when I was on my way to Alabama, but we bumped into each other in San Diego. So, yeah, man, it's cool to have that. To kind of, you kind of, and I think that's like the beauty of it, right? Like, just because I haven't seen somebody in years doesn't mean we can't reconnect and kind of pick up where we left off.
And
You know what I'm saying?
that's how I
If we
feel like
were,
that's how just all my relationships are now. You know, like I don't,
yeah,
other than you, there may be a handful of folks that I keep in touch with regularly.
mhm.
Outside of that, it's like, man, it's been 3 years since we talked last. 5 years, 10 years, like,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I was just I just met up with a cousin of mine in Vegas last week, and coming to find, I mean, it was same thing. I mean, he and I probably text back and forth at most because he's an Auburn fan. Garbage. First of all, probably not even blood related, but anyway.
Questionable.
But I would say at most we text, I don't know, once every couple of months, you know, and most time it's during football season, you know, college football season. So, but yeah, he was out for a conference in Vegas. I was out in Vegas, and so we linked up for a night, and it was like nothing had ever changed. It's like I saw him last week.
Yeah.
But then we were doing the math, and I was like, holy shit, we haven't seen each other in 5 years. He had never
Just like
even
that.
met my youngest daughter, which I'm like, how have you not met her? I see her every day. How do you not know this person? You know, like,
Yeah.
who's a part of my life. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. 5 years we hadn't seen each other.
And you know, I think that goes back to the whole how men communicate, women communicate. Like, I could do that with like my boys. Like, you know, there's guys that I haven't talked to, like I said, in years, right? As soon as I see them, boom, yo, let's get together. Let's go grab a drink. Let's catch up. And instantly we can just summarize however long that gap was in like an hour or two. Rebuild that connection or whatever. It's like, yo, have all the plans in the world to maintain this communication is probably going to fall apart again, you know, no doubt. But then if I meet, and not to say it's all like this, I'm not gonna say it's like this at all the time. However, but if I meet like, you know, like some of my like homegirls, like just because I haven't talked to them in a week or two, they think that, oh, is there something wrong? You know, it's like, no, it's nothing wrong. It's just, I don't know. I have life going on, and I'm assuming that you have life going on too.
No, that's whack, Holmes. That's whack.
Whack indeed.
Whack, Holmes. I'm gonna keep. I'm just entertaining myself at this point. I'm gonna keep doing this.
I say maintain it. No, you know, that the calm thing is crazy. It's crazy, the whole communication stuff, and no one's on the same page.
So let's talk about that.
Some folks, they need you to. Some people, you know, I think it's like some people, like if I dated this one girl, man, just because I on a daily didn't tell her how much like I loved her on a regular, which I didn't feel that this was a thing at the time. I was young, you know, but that was like a big foul on me. Even though I was like, yo, we just went out to dinner and I like did all these things the other day. And actually I thought like a month ago, I bought you flowers. Like what, how do you not know how I feel about you? She's like, because you didn't tell me. It's like, cause I just did like last week, but in my mind, I'm not thinking that I have to constantly go in, you know? And I didn't like that. And then ultimately that fell apart anyway. But, you know, it was a lesson learned because now with my munchkin, please believe on a regular basis, hey, daddy loves you.
Yeah.
we're not playing
weird,
these games,
man. It's weird, right? And we've discussed like love languages, stuff like that before. I mean, like, you know what? We've talked about a lot of precursors to this particular conversation, you know, like preemptively doing what people need or, you know, saying things preemptively that you know that they want to hear. And it's and here's this is something that I've been discussing with my wife as of late because I'm slowly peeling back the layers. I'm gonna get to the root cause here eventually. But I mean, you know, relationships they're all about give and take and compromise and stuff like that. So I say that to say this, you know, my wife is not a touchy-feely, you know, super affectionate person towards me for whatever reason. Now, I know she loves me, but I know she loves me about as much as I know that my dad loves me, right? Who refused to ever say it, you know. It's interesting because, you know, I've heard arguments, and I'm not putting this on my wife. I've heard arguments in the past where like, yeah, well, I mean, they want me to say this, but that's not me being me. Like, I'm not that type of person to say that kind of thing. I'm like, all right, well, then you're probably not going to be, I mean, unless you're in a committed marriage or you're sorting through it, you're committed to being sorted, like, you won't be in that relationship very long. Because if somebody's telling you, like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z, and you're refusing to do it for whatever the mental block is, I have no idea. I mean, I was poking at my wife the other night. So we both traveled a lot, and we both ended up in the same city Friday night. And and as you can see behind me, this is actually one of our fifth wheel trailers that we have that I'm in right now. I'm on the road in my fifth wheel, and she was in the same city as me, and she had a hotel room. And she's like, hey, why don't you come stay in the hotel room with me? Now, most people would probably say, like, why would that not be the first option? Well, for me, and I think you'll probably get this more than most people, I was mentally committed to staying here already, right? My things are here. Yeah. My toothbrush is here, my cell phone charger, whatever it may be, and she had work obligations. I also had work obligations, but they were not conducive to us linking up and staying in the same place, right? So either way, she's like, I just think it's weird that you want to go and stay in the fifth wheel versus coming here. And I'm like, well, I just saw you for multiple days, and now it's more of a burden for me to pack up all my things to come stay there for one night. I said, unless what you're trying to say without saying it is that you want me to come stay with you.
It's game time.
Game time or not, I wasn't even worried about that. I was just
do what you want.
she's like, I'm just saying, I think it's weird. To which I replied again, I'm just saying, I'm not going to come stay there unless you say the words, I want you to be here. So
you're gonna pull it up at her.
So let's just assume that for the moment I lost that conversation. But she's like, will you at least get us dinner? I'm like, yeah, I'll get dinner. She's like, so you're gonna get dinner, come all the way here and not even stay here? I'm like, not unless you tell me you want me to stay, because I was determined to draw that out of her,
Do it.
So let's skip ahead. I get dinner. I get to the hotel room. She's happy to see me. She looks nice. She smells nice. She gives me a hug. She's like, thank you for dinner. I'm like, and? She's like, and what? I'm like, I'm not staying. I'm not even going to eat with you if you don't say the magic words.
Straight DoorDash.
Yeah. She comes around the thing. She gives me a hug. She's like, I do want you to be here. I was like, close enough, and I win. Let's enjoy dinner. Okay, moving on. And I was like, why was that so hard to say? She looks at me dead in the eye. She goes, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm like, well, we're going to break through some barriers. We'll get there eventually.
Shit.
She's a great woman. She's a great woman.
I'm very similar to that. If I'm granted, I don't know. Earlier me, definitely for sure. Me now, I'm probably like you. Like I will either pull it out of him or I will be resistant and be like, you know what? Just because of principle alone, go home. You know what I mean? Just like that. I'll see you tomorrow.
It was weird though. It was like
battle. It could be a battle.
Like I don't even know how to compare like you versus me as far as compared to like what the average man I guess would be right now when it comes to expressing emotions or feelings or whatever else. I know that I am more emotional than you, but I may just be more emotional in a different way also. So I guess it depends on how you look at it. I don't know. But I would say outwardly I am more emotional than you. That's based on experience. So
absolutely. Yeah. Emotions are not my cup of tea.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, I have no problem hugging the homies. I have no problem being like, yo, man, Salt, hey, I want you here for X, Y, and Z. Like that kind of thing just doesn't, I don't know. I don't have a problem with that. And I thought I would growing up in South Alabama, with, the way that I was raised, which is that any emotion other than, yep, we're gonna work today, and we're gonna come home, we'll have dinner, church on Sunday. Like, I mean, that was, you know, I won't say that was the extent, because if my dad ever watches this, he'll kick my ass. My dad was a fucking comedian. I mean, just absolutely hilarious. That was him like 80% of the time, but the other 20% that no one got to see but me, he was a fucking comedian. Mm-hmm. Just constant. My mom would be like chewing on me, and my dad would be behind her like making faces, you know, and I'd start laughing. She'd be like, "Oh, you think this is funny?" I'd be like, "It was Dad." No. My dad immediately would be like, "Boy, you need to listen to your mom." I'm like, how do you go straight face so quick? Like, what? You know,
he's the problem.
Yeah. You know,
you know, my pops. So my dad wasn't. My dad was always cool. He was hard on me for sure, but like, it wasn't hugs. It wasn't like I love yous, nothing like that. So
he wasn't.
It was just more so.
He wasn't like what you would classify as affectionate.
When it was weird. I mean, even so now, like, you know, I give my dad a hug now. We're like older, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, I'll see you later," and I'll give him a hug. But you know, we've never been a touchy feely type. It just wasn't that. My mom, yeah. My dad, no. Mm. So like for me, I kind of model myself probably more so after my dad, where it's just like what I know to be true was that with my dad, things were consistent, things were stable. You know what I'm saying? He did his job. He went, did the job, came home, made dinner, took care of us, and he pushed us to do what we're supposed to do. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't more, and we knew that he loved us. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like, I love you guys. Every now and then, hey, I love you guys. But it wasn't like this daily thing. It was just understood. You know what I mean? And so like, I didn't have a problem with that. It was cool with me, especially me being the type that I am, where I'm just like, very, you know, I don't think that I am, but some people would say that I'm kind of stoic at times, you know, but, you know, I'm just more of just introverted 9 times out of 10.
Stoic.
You know what I mean?
Stubborn.
Perhaps. You know, yeah. And I accept all those things. You know what I mean? I accept all those things, but I know how I can be, and I know that affection and telling people that is definitely tough. With my munchkin, like I said, I've kind of gotten out of myself a little bit, but for me, it's just kind of like, yo, nice work. Like, my dad didn't say, hey, you know, Charles, great. Oh, wow, I'm so proud. You know, it was none of that. I never got like an official, like, good job was until I got my master's. And that was me walk across the stage looking down, and he just did like this. And that's when I was like, oh shit, I did it. For me, that was like,
don't trip.
Man, yeah, I was like, oh wow, like this is huge. Like he's validated. Like he appreciated what I just accomplished. For him, it was a big deal. But I knew what he valued.
He valued my dad
having an education.
You know what? Never mind. I apologize. I was about to share a story that I'm not supposed to share, so I won't do that. I'll say this: I accomplished something, not on that level, but I graduated from something other than high school. This was post high school, and it was the second time I'd ever heard my dad say that he loved me, and he gave me a hug and told me he loved me and he was proud of me. And we've not made eye contact since. Yeah, and that was 20 years ago. I go visit. He's like, "Is that your son?" Because it's not. I'm not his son, right? Like, can't say, "Is that our son?" Is that your son, Belinda? That's your son. Yeah, Corey, come say hi.
He'll be over here soon. You know, it makes me wonder, like, you know, like now where everybody's like, you know, say how you feel and, you know, and kiss your baby. Like, this is how we grew up. Does that make us? I don't think that it doesn't make me, I'm not lacking for anything. You know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't have this super affectionate relationship with my pops, nothing like that. Some people will use that as like a reason to not, you know, as an excuse to not do well. Well, man, my dad did this, whatever. A lot of people have like shitty dads. A lot of people have shitty moms. A lot of people have shitty parents in general. But like, I don't think that didn't play a big factor on me. Maybe because he was there and I had something to model. You know, I couldn't use that as an excuse. I have no idea. You know, it's so.
Did you have other influences though. I mean, like I had multiple.
To what?
Well, I mean,
Drive me?
yeah, I mean, like I have my dad, I have my mom, and and by no means did I grow up, in a difficult world at all. I hope nobody takes it that way. Like my dad, I'm telling you, he is a fucking comedian. You've met my dad. He's funny. He can be dry at times. And when you met him for the first time, his joke, it was a joke. I think it was a joke, but it was.
Who knows? I'm still here though.
You're still here. But
so I'll take it as
like
such.
I had grandmothers and grandfathers and great grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins that were very senior to me and stuff like that. Like, so I had a lot of family influence around me, and none of it was really negative. So even though it was a very stoic, like on my mom's side, it was all I love yous and hugs, which is what I emulate, right? On my dad's side, it was all very, like you said, it was very stoic. It was very traditional Southern. Like the love is there, but it's more understood than it is expressed. And not to talk about my particular family dynamic so much, but I would just say as an observation, and me being me, I would take the I love yous and hugs all day long over the it's just understood. And growing up, having both of those things to look at, both sides have their issues. No one necessarily turned out better off. In fact, I would say financially, I think the stoic side turned out better. But as far as emotional stability and overall joy, I think the I love you and huggy side turned out better. So it's kind of, it's weird. Family ties are family ties, and everybody's got their own thing. But I kind of fall in the middle of all of it. Blair, my wife, she calls me a chameleon. She's like, I don't get it. How you just flex wherever you go, and you can wear all the things: skinny jeans one day, cowboy boot cut, motorcycle, Harley Davidson the next, DJ one day. I don't know.
Yeah, I should, and I think that's where I guess we are similar. Where I have to be something that I have to morph into different things just to, I don't know, that's just how I move at this point. I'm not one thing, one person. I could be in Oklahoma, cowboy boots on, cowboy hat with a motherfucking buckle, and I'm out there two-stepping or learning how to do so with them people doing some Copperhead Row, you know what I mean? Or, I can rock, some Timbs, or I can go dressy casual with some Steve Madden, whatever, some Stacey Adams. It doesn't really matter to me. It depends on the setting, depends on what in my mind, the expectation is in terms of how I should present myself, But I'm the complete opposite, though. I would prefer no one saying anything to me in terms of how they feel. Just let it be known through actions. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need to hear it. If it makes me, I'm uncomfortable when I hear this shit.
Hold on.
There's only one that
what kind of comms are we talking here, though? Right? Because I prefer action over words as well, but that's different than a family setting where you're given the words of affirmation that hey baby, I'm proud of you, I love you, whatever it may be. There's nothing that I don't want for example, I don't want my kids to feel like they have to earn my affection. I want them to know daddy loves you no matter what. You don't got to earn this. So when it comes to action over words for me, it's anything that starts with, I'm sorry. I don't want to fucking hear I'm sorry. And I'm going a bit 180 on this right now. I don't want to hear I'm sorry. I want to see you never fucking do that again. That's what I want. Do the things that, would never cause you to have to say I'm sorry. You know what? And this might be a good segue. Yeah. So things we wanted to talk about a little bit about, mottos or credos and things like that. Just things you've heard, things that maybe, a mentor has told you. Principles to live by it. Something a mentor has told you or whatever. Something you've heard along the road that you live by now. And I'll tell you one of the things for me, that I had a friend of mine, not a mentor, just a friend, an acquaintance really, tell me when I was probably 16 years old. And it was very simple. Like, spend your time. Don't spend your time doing things you regret. Spend your time doing things you won't regret, you know? And I'm not big on, religion and such right now. I'm spiritual, if you will. But, even the Bible talks about, like, asking for forgiveness more than once. You're not supposed to, right? I mean, you ask for forgiveness once, and then that's it. If you know enough to ask for forgiveness, then you know enough to know that what you did was wrong. And if you know it's wrong, you're not supposed to fucking do it again. So, I teach my kids in all different realms. Like, I don't want to hear you say I'm sorry. If you mess up something and you apologize, good. But I don't want to ever hear you say I'm sorry a second time. Just don't do it again. Which is a huge frustration as a parent, because I feel like every single day they do the exact same thing over and over and over just to push my buttons, But at the end of the day, man, I hug them, I love them, I kiss them, I tell them I love them. So I went off on a bit of a tangent. I apologize.
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, people tell us things. Some stuff takes, especially depending on where you are in life. The most random person or someone the closest to you, could tell you something that when it resonates, it could basically have this crazy ripple effect to how you operate into the future, But, and it's either that or just hard learned lessons, right? So kind of like on the same, since you brought that one up, here's one of my principles that kind of runs alongside that, is that pain and suffering is necessary for growth.
Absolutely.
And that's just my personal opinion. Now, I asked this to a friend of mine because she was like, well, I'm in this place. I won't put her name out there. I'm sure she knows who she is.
I can tell by your inflection.
She's like, yeah, well. I asked her, I was like, because she was telling me how she wanted to be in this place of peace. I was like, oh, absolutely. And then, but she had said some other things, and I just disagreed. I was like, so what do you think is more, what do you think is required in terms for that growth that you're looking for? I was like, do you think that being in a place of happiness and success, that's going to push you to the next level? Or are you going to have to, or is it the pain and suffering that, like, what is more important to life in terms of personal growth, things like that? She says, I don't think that you shouldn't have to suffer in order to grow. And I was like, and I disagree. I was like, I'm not the person who I am without pain and suffering, because it forced me to go into the lab, as I call it. And I had to think and break down myself on multiple levels to understand why does my life suck right now. How do you think this person defines
suffering?
Well, I think she just looked at it as, my, in terms of all the things, financial, whatever, like the mental stress, poor decisions.
In other words,
all that. Pain, suffering.
So when I think of suffer, I think of sacrifice. So if you're not willing to sacrifice, willing to sacrifice the way you,
delayed gratification,
the way you eat, the way you move,
delayed gratification.
If you're not willing to sacrifice an hour of sleep to get up early in the morning and go to the gym, sacrifice that double cheese for a salad or some fruit or whatever. Like, some people would consider, would consider that suffering. I just call it sacrificing.
Absolutely.
For the end game. What's the end game?
100%. But the problem with that, though, is that it is self-induced. I'm talking about the stuff that's not self-induced. I guess on some level it is, just because this is where you are. But that is something where I say, okay, I have a goal, I'm going to get there, and this is how I have to do it. Which absolutely, that is a form, that is suffering, pain. It sucks because I want this now, but I can't. However, I'm talking about you are now having to live through the repercussions of decisions made. And it sucks. Like, you're in you've tormented yourself by poor decisions, either with the guy that you got with, now he's got you pregnant, or you blew all your dough and now you are in debt. And so now it's forced upon you now to have to save money and pay this debt off so that you can get your head above water, stuff like that. But But I told her, I was like, you know what? I think that is necessary. I think life in general is hard for a reason. That's the pain and suffering. That's the pressure, right? They talk about pressure makes diamonds. That's the pressure, all the pain, all the suffering, all that. Because once you've survived that, once you've made the necessary adjustments to yourself in general, when you get out of that, and then when you look back on it, you can appreciate it, be like, damn, I actually needed that. There's nothing that I got that I enjoy now that I giggled my way and it was super light and easy and I can appreciate it now. None of that. All the stuff the guy that I am now, my life I feel is easier. I'm not gonna say easy, but easier now because I got my ass kicked over and over and over because I'm a knucklehead. I'm gonna tell you that me. I might be stoic, but I'm a stoic knucklehead, right? And so it happened to me over and over and over. And I was like, yo, this sucks. So I had to start making these chops, making these changes, boom, 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 and just kind of keep it to the essentials. So I think now I can enjoy that peace that she was talking about because of what I had to go through. Kind of like, in order to have peace, you got to have war. I think it's just I think that's where that goes. So I think that you have to, and even now, even for growth, part of what you're talking about, right? I think it could be self-induced in terms of putting yourself in uncomfortable positions to get the gain, whatever that is, right? If you don't like public speaking, then get up there and start doing it on a regular basis until it becomes comfortable. Once it becomes comfortable, now you don't have an issue with public speaking no more. You know what I'm saying? You don't like heights. For me, I jumped out of a plane over and over and over. Now I'm like, I can stand at the top of the ladder and not freak out.
Tell somebody the next time that they said they don't think that life requires, or it shouldn't require sacrifice or suffering or whatever to get what they want.
Some discomfort.
Look, then you're never going to grow, right? Because growth comes out of discomfort. If you are comfortable, then you're not growing. I mean, you're in your comfort zone.
And in your comfort zone, it's safe.
You're stagnant. You know what I mean? And then you're going to get moldy, and it's going to be gross. So and you're going to turn. Become nothing. I tell people this all the time.
Nature's the exact same.
I want to come back to that. I want to hear that. But I say this all the time to folks. I'm like, hey, you never. Because people ask me about how I live, right? And they're like, how do you maintain this? I'm like, I'm not maintaining anything. I am constantly struggling to catch up and get what I want out of life. And they're like, but you have this and you have that and you have da 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 da. And I'm like, you're right. I do have all those things. I don't take them for granted. But over the course of forcing myself to be uncomfortable, I am comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So it's not that it gets easier. It's that you get more acclimated to being uncomfortable to the point that it seems normal. So, I'm like, all right, like I'm not necessarily getting smarter. I'm just getting smarter at how I move, right? So I still have all the same things. I've just learned how to juggle them more efficiently, which essentially opens up a little free time, right? So now I have a little white space on my daily calendar. But you know me, if it's not filled with other obligations, I will fill it myself with something else. Which is how this came to be. You'd been talking about doing a podcast for years, and then I finally...
You actually had. I'm pretty sure you brought that up.
Don't you tell me what I did, okay?
All right.
Whatever. Okay. I tried to give you credit. Yes, you shot it down. So I'll take all the credit.
You don't have to take all
the credit. Yes, I've been talking about doing a podcast for many, many years. I think we both knew
I think we were on I think it was a mutual thing, right? I think we both had entertained it. Where you were like, I was doing this. And I was like, like I thought about it. I was like, but I kept it pushing. But then I was like, well, shit, if I'm going to do it with anybody, let's do one together. And we talked about it years ago, no doubt. And then fast forward, here we are.
And fast forward, here we are.
So that's
it's the outcome of me having, and maybe you too at the same time, we both just had white space at a similar time. And I told my wife, like I'm sitting there and I was watching Big Bang Theory at home. and it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm watching it, but I'm not watching. My brain's just like turning, right? And I got a whiskey in my hand, and I'm like, I'm wasting time right now. I'm wasting time. I could be doing something else. And I looked at her, and I was like, I'm starting that podcast with Salt. Period. Dot. And this was, what is it? It's March right now, so this is probably 5 months ago, I think, is when we decided to slap the table on it. And then we did about 2 months of planning before we recorded our first session. Something like that?
Well, no.
Was it less than that?
No, it was like, a few weeks of planning. Because it was
felt
December.
Like months, because coming up with our name took forever.
Well, early December. It did, but not because it was early December. And then we had, not months, but we had like a few weeks to really get our lives in order. So I would say like a month max. Yeah. Hence the Thursday.
All right. Back to in nature.
I mean, yeah. No. So I was saying, like, in terms of like the struggle, pain and suffering, you can summarize it just all as just the struggle, right? So in nature, you see it all the time, right? You got the birds on the cliff. The mother kicks the bird off the side. It goes bing, bang, bong, bong, bong. If it survives, great. If it flies, you win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to figure it out. It's launched into the world and says, welcome. This is harsh. And you're going to figure it out. You got the Galapagos Islands with the turtles, baby turtles. The moms come in there, bury the eggs. They hatch. They take off. Instantly, they're running for their lives because they got these seagulls plucking these bad boys out of the sand. And it's like game over. Some get in. Some don't make it. That's just life. But then in particular, you're talking about like with people, right? We're already here. But still the same things happen. The metamorphosis of a person coming out of adolescence, becoming an adult. You know what I'm saying? That struggle to become this other person, you know what I'm saying? Where you're no longer a child, and you're starting to, like, right in our 20s in particular, constantly screwing up, because we're young, we're dumb, we're trying to figure it out still. We're making poor decisions. We're trying to figure it out. However, I think when you start kind of going into that, for me, I call it isolation, right? When you go in like this isolation mode, you're kind of going into like your cocoon, like a butterfly, you know what I'm saying? And now you're trying to sort it out, you're trying to figure it out, you know what I mean? And you're making yourself something else. Maybe you've kind of like gotten away from like something like, this doesn't work for me no more. I don't care about that. This doesn't work for me no more. Some people might go into like a state of depression almost, just because it's just like, you know what? Like, everything fucking sucks. I don't know what to do. And it's better to be alone right now until I figure it out. This is just me, the way I was working. And I'm already like this isolated type anyway. I enjoy my solitude. However, it became this super pressure cooker where I was just like, everything's falling apart. Don't know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. So similar to like a butterfly, right? If it was easy for me, I would have never have grown and found the strength that I have now to be independent. With a butterfly, when it comes out of that cocoon and it's breaking free, you're not supposed to help it. You're supposed to let the butterfly work its way out, because that's how its wings get strengthened. You know what I'm saying? If you don't let the wings get strong, it's not going to survive. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's in nature. Like, it's always going to be difficult, but the difficulty makes it stronger so that it now can be this organism that can survive out in the wild, And so like when people are out here taking pills because they can't deal with their anxiety, taking pills because depression is overwhelming, taking pills thinking that life isn't supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be footloose and fancy free and just loving this. And you are preventing that growth. Life is trying to put you in a state of metamorphosis, but you are resisting it and you are staying outside of that. And you're taking these pills that are numbing you to what is, it's inevitable. It has to be something, right?
You're trying to bypass the internal manufacturing of what you and I have called in the past a coping mechanism. You're trying to skip over it. You're trying to avoid that hurdle, thinking if you avoid it, eventually it will go away. No, it doesn't. It only gets bigger, and you lose any ability to conquer that now mountain that's in front of you that used to just be a small little, speed bump. Now it's a fucking mountain because you've numbed yourself to the point that you can't deal with anything.
Yeah, you freak out by how big it is now, and it was easy just a molehill. Now it's that mountain, like you said, right? And
I wonder if that's where they came up with that
internal mechanism,
or becoming a mountain out.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're turning
a mountain out of a.
You've made a mountain out of a molehill. You've made a mountain out of a molehill. Yeah, like someone someone spills milk or whatever, right? He's like, yo, what the fuck? Some people are melting down. It's like, yo, like, relax. Just get the paper towel, Wipe it up. No big deal. Why are you making a big deal of this, right? That's a lot of people are doing that, right? A lot of people are making these mountains out of molehills, and what they're doing, and they're not allowing that internal mechanism. There's things that are happening to us. And this is just my personal beliefs. There's outside influences, right? You know, like the way you could feel gravity, there's other things out there that we don't really have like a name for, but it's out there. You know what I'm saying? If you could believe in gravity, just keep your mind open to this as well, right? There's other forces at play out that I really couldn't tell you, but I in my gut and core and everything, having done some reading, especially if you're talking about the metaphysical, right? It's out there, and it has an impact on all of our lives. But that, I think, is part of when things are happening to you, and you're taking these pills, and your brain is trying to do certain things for you, and it's wanting you to just be like, okay, figure your shit out. Talk to certain people that can help you navigate this place that you're going to, right? I think that's where the wisdom kicks in. You hang around with wise folks, not knuckleheads. Get rid of the knuckleheads. Find people that are like, yo, I know exactly where, and they can help you navigate that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's inevitable. Rock bottom is inevitable. I think it's part of the process of life, right? I told it to my little brother. I told it to my kid. It's okay. You feel like everything is just failing and you're getting your ass kicked. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's necessary. You know what I'm saying? I think anybody who, if you start a business or whatever, you're going to have to go through that place where you're like, I think I should fucking quit. Some people self-eliminate, and that sucks. That sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no one there to intervene, or they couldn't see a way out, you know? And shit, I've dabbled in that world a little bit, like, yo, that's a freaky place. And I can't even imagine where those folks go to get to completion. You know what I'm saying? However, it is, I think, part of the process, because I think you need to understand that you have zero control in this world about anything. You know what I'm saying? And you are at the mercy of life. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to be perfect. The only thing you could do is be very, very proactive and have the intent on where you want to go, how you want to get there. And no, it will not be linear. It's not going to be direct. You're going to have to get pushed off course numerous times, but keep making your way back. Keep making your way back, almost like a fucking homing pigeon in a crazy 90-mile-an-hour headwind or something like that. I don't know.
This is what I think. All these things,
you keep going.
All these
you
things
keep pushing.
define your own internal strength, right? Because you're the only 100%. Thing you can control is your choices. Your intention. So if you choose to not numb yourself from the hurdles in life, you choose to take on those challenges, that internal strength is going to grow. So instead of that molehill turning into a mountain, it's your resiliency is now growing from, being childlike to being a very mature individual who can take on any situation with dignity and class and go, all right, I've been here before.
And then you turn those mountains, they become molehills. Now all mountains become molehills. It's like, shit, like this is easy. You know what I'm saying? Like this is easy. You know, and this is how you gain these principles, right? It's through that. It's like, you know what? This, I know, like even the most cliche stuff, right? It's just like, I understand that to be true. That makes sense to me. Having gone through that whole process, like, yeah. And you start getting your own principles. Like, all these, like I got a list. As we were talking about this, I started scribbling them down. Started writing them down. I got this long list. I was like, and it went from like the beginning to like the most recent. I was like, man, I got a little bit more than.
And I do. I definitely want to have a longer conversation about that, because I want to talk about the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. It talks about it a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, Carnegie.
I love Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, absolutely.
That book talks about this stuff too a little bit. It dabbles in it. You know, like you can't win over anybody or influence anyone appropriately. And you and I have talked about this until you know yourself. And I'm going to dabble in what you said earlier.
Absolutely.
If you're sitting here numbing yourself with all this other stuff, just hoping that you're going to grow without suffering, you're not. Because I'm going to tell you what, I could be talking to somebody. If I was sitting next to Elon Musk right now, okay, let's just say I'm sitting next to Elon Musk, and he's like, oh yeah, I have this, that, and the other, and I'm munching on Xanax, daily just to maintain. I'd be like, one, I highly doubt. I would put all of my money on the fact that that is not how he operates. But two, I would borderline lose a lot of respect for the man because I don't foresee anyone being the CEO of the world at this point. But, like being in that particular position, him, the way he speaks, as eloquent as he is, him as him of himself. We could talk about other world leaders and I'd be like, no, he's definitely on medication. He has to be, Okay. But Elon Musk specifically, I guarantee you he takes everything head on. And he probably always has.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And if he does, there are people like shit, like especially celebrities that they take all kinds of whatever, you know what I'm saying? Living that lifestyle.
I'm gonna hold this up.
Because it helps with their anxiety or whatever.
We all deal with things in different ways.
What is that? Pineapple?
Jalapeno pineapple margarita. On the rocks.
On the rocks, right?
Yeah, it seemed like a good follow-up for that
good,
mango michelada I just had.
Makes sense.
Trying to stay in the same flavor palette. But we all numb things.
Everybody does that.
But
yeah. But if that gets you over the hump, that's one thing, right? If you're a hard charger, and let's just say you do have that anxiety, but you're still going in, right? You are still imposing your will on life, right? You're still going in, you're still doing the thing, and regardless of the fact, you're not running from it. And if that's what gets you, like if you smoke a joint, be like, whew, all right, let's do this. Fine. I'm not knocking anybody on how they get to that state of calm, that state of peace where they can now go into the fray. I'm talking about them people who they have no intention of even doing that. They're just trying to numb and be like, well, if I stay here long enough.
Well, I mean, you're talking about folks who wake up in the morning and pop a fucking Xanax. You know what I mean? Like if the first,
or just not.
That's what I mean by that. Like if you're not sleeping, you're on some substance to numb you from the world. Like I wake up and I have coffee, black, now because I'm trying to get fit, which I would like to bring up too. Salt and I have a little bit of a challenge. It was his challenge, which
I want to say we brought this
I'm not
up.
sure how.
But yeah, absolutely.
Recap. How if we already brought it up, how are we doing? 5% body fat by July. I don't know my body fat percentage. I don't know.
That's easy. Well, there is a way that we can figure that out. There's a scanner over at this NutriShop place where you can stand on there, it body scans you, it'll tell you where you're at. I tell you like this, you can tell by the definition of your abs. In general, that's definitely a way. I know what my 5% looks like versus 7 to 10. Right now, I'm at 7 to 10. Now, the last month, it was straight abuse. Let's just be clear. I was going to the gym, diet trash, eating out a lot, doing all the things because I'm on the road, and it's just what it is. I did my best.
So my diet,
but Alabama had better food than I expected.
So my diet in the last month has been on point. To include the fact that, with the exception of this weekend in particular, because today is Sunday, I have not been drinking beer, and I've been going.
Excellent.
And this is a lot for Papa Joe. I've been going 4 or 5 days, Monday through Friday, for the most part, sober.
No drinking.
And I'm talking about tuna and water.
Is that now, granted, it is indeed a conscious decision, but is it easier now that you're in like this rebuilding mode where your body's kind of like, I really don't need that? Like there's not like I feel like when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I almost have like a craving for the shit that's going to do me more harm. Right. As opposed to like when I'm working out and doing certain things, I'm like, I really don't want to do any of this other stuff. I would prefer the good stuff.
No, absolutely. I think I'm taking that the way that you meant it. When I am in a rebuilding mode, let's just say it. I remember this from back in my 20s when I would be gone for 3 or so months at a time. And I wouldn't drink. And it was all brown rice, chicken, now I'm talking about my 20s, 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, but in brown rice and chicken. But I was also, doing cardio because all these fucking Hollywood dietitians and all that cardio and carbs, like I do cardio because cardio, even though I don't necessarily, back then I didn't necessarily enjoy doing it. I did it because it made me feel good. Now I've grown to love it, right? That whole like taking it head on, like you learn to love the things that are kind of miserable sometimes because you know the outcome is bettering you in some kind of way, right? But I would also be lifting for 2 hours a day because that was my schedule at the time. I'd wake up and do cardio. I'd feel phenomenal all day based on the runner's high, you know? And then I would lift for a couple hours before I went to bed because my mentality was I'm going to destroy my muscles and then I'm going to go to sleep and let my body rebuild itself. Rinse and repeat in the morning.
Absolutely.
But at the time, I mean, you know, my body type, I'm not designed to lift insane weight, right? I've got a 6'4" wingspan on a 6'2" frame. You know, like it just doesn't work, right? So the most I ever benched was 315, and I was at I think I was at 4.5% body fat. So us trying to get down to 5%, it's certainly a goal to achieve. I will tell you, I've never not seen my abs in my life. Like I've always been able to see them, but I will tell you. I got to a point where I was barely seeing the top 2, and now I can see full 6 again. So we're making progress.
Progress is being made. Absolutely.
And on that note, and tomorrow morning I might only see 4, but I'll piss a few times and flush it out of my system. It will be good to back go.
On point. Exactly. Yeah, if the majority of what you're doing is the good stuff, then yeah, you're in the building. I mean, like I definitely have fallen off. Like the last week I haven't hit the gym at all. I was like, screw it. I'm trying to just maintain it. I was supposed to come home and start jogging, didn't. So I was like, tomorrow, Monday, I'll get back on my routine. I just needed to recover in general. It was just a lot of traveling and I've been just burnt out and it didn't feel like 100%, which once again, excuses galore, no doubt. And I'll accept that and I'll own that. However, come Monday though, I'm going to go hardcore.
I only had like the week off sometimes though, man. But, like I'm telling you.
Yeah, but listen to an extent. Like, you know, like for me, like I listen to it when I feel like it becomes critical. I feel like I'm doing more like legit pain than actual gain, you know? And then that's when I'll be like, okay, you know, maybe you should take some time or change the workout. Even if I feel pain doesn't mean I'm not going to work out. It just means I'm going to change the exercise.
Sometimes that pain is mental too, especially if you're in the middle of a plateau. Oh, that's the worst. You're like, man, why am I not seeing results right now? And you're talking about like it's been a couple weeks, and you're like, why am I not? You burn through it. Oh, you know what? You brought up something, and this is where I was going with the whole back in my 20s thing. Talking about what we crave right now, because I've cut out beer. I had a beer last night. My wife and I we went out on a date. Took the Harley out for a rip. Went down to this lake, went to this really cool little bar, and I had a beer, and just felt like garbage. It just, I don't know why, you know. It just did, and I had a business lunch today, and I had an IPA, and I felt great. So. I don't know, but last night I also wasn't feeling it. Today I was feeling it. So that's what I mean by listening to your body. Like I crave eating healthy when I'm in this mode, because mentally I'm like, I know what's going to hurt me. That being said, I hurt myself real good. Was it last weekend? It may have been. I decided I was going to be healthy, and I stuck to vodka tonics. Double vodka tonics.
Man. Yeah. That was me Friday.
The end of the night, I'm not going to share that story publicly, but I'll call you and tell you later. Yeah.
Good deal, man. Well, shit.
Back.
We did it. We're back. We're back on track. And it's good. It's good. You know, I actually kind of like this.
Hell yeah, man.
And granted, it's only episode 11.
So for those of you who are paying attention to today's conversation, what he meant to say was he missed me, but he doesn't want to say that out loud because that's not how he operates. But I can see the smile on his face. No. I missed you too, man. We're back.
Well, on that note, yeah, we're back. See you soon, actually. We got to play some catch up. So, yeah, man.
You got a lot to do.
That's a wrap. Good deal.
All right.
Absolutely. Rock and roll. Catch you later. Peace.